So are bail-ins coming to the, but a bank near you in America? Federal Reserve Vice Chairman, one of the Fed Vice Chairmans, I should say, warns your bank may seize your money to recapitalize itself if it needs to. And let me tell you, they're going to need to. They needed it in 2008. They gave them massive hundreds of billions of dollars to start with, which have now turned into trillions of dollars. And it isn't enough. At the height of the financial crisis in 2008, the U.S. government forced some of the country's largest banks to take a bailout fund amounting to billions of dollars in order to keep them from going bankrupt. It was a move designed to not only keep too big to fail financial institutions afloat, but one that would inspire confidence and keep American consumers spending. As a result, the last several years have seen stock market reach record highs, with Americans continuing to rack up personal debt for real estate, vehicles, education, and consumer goods as if the financial crisis never happened. But the purported recovery may not be everything that government officials and influential financial leaders have made it out to be. Recent comments delivered by none other than Federal Reserve Vice Chairman Stanley Fischer suggest that not only are global and domestic economies still struggling, but the U.S. government itself is preparing financial contingency plans in anticipation of another widespread economic event. And just so we're on the same page here, the FDIC insurance, member FDIC. Oh, well, use that bank, your money's insured. It's only insured up to a certain amount, right? What is it? It used to be $100,000. Now I think it's $250,000 per account, per whatever, right? But when we did the bailout, they damn near gave almost $1 trillion right off the bat. And again, later on, we fed more and helped build out other banks and whatnot, across the seas, you name it. FDIC insurance, in the absolute worst catastrophic event, financially speaking, banks after bank after bank, let's say, just closed the doors, bankrupt, and they had to pay out all this insurance, the FDIC. They only have $50 or $60 billion in what they call the DIF fund. $50 billion is usually what I used to see. It may be lower than that now. I don't even know where it's at the moment. That's all they've got. $50 billion to backstop everything. Okay, but we had to give them $850 billion to start with in 2008, which again has been blown through to try to paper over this whole thing, and it hasn't changed anything. We've still been continually adding massive amounts of debt. $9 trillion, not even 8 years later, 6 years later, it was already over 16, 17 trillion. So, in an emergency, by law, they say, the FDIC, if it runs out of its money, $50 billion, absolutely, they'll run out of that, can go to the Treasury and get $500 billion, half a trillion, in emergency lending to the FDIC to help it, again, put out these fires, so to speak, of failing banks. But that's it. No more. That's what the law states. That's all they're going to get. Once again, $500 billion from the emergency fund, $50 billion from its own fund, DIF fund. That's $550 billion. Yet in 2008, we had to come up with $850 billion right off the bat. See a problem here? If it happens again, and now that these same banks have been spending and investing in the same crap that they've been doing the whole time, the derivatives haven't gotten smaller, they've gotten larger, the crash is coming. So, thinking like a politician, that $500 billion is gone, the $50 billion DIF fund, that's absolutely gone. How else can we help these banks? Bail-ins. Let's take the people's money. According to Fisher, the government won't be bailing out financial institutions in need of cash. Instead, failing banks will turn directly to their unsecured creditors, which is you and your bank account, when they need money. And within this context, that means you. The recession that began in the United States in December 2007 ended in June 2009. But the Great Recession is a near worldwide phenomenon, with the consequences of which many advanced economies continue to struggle. Its depth and breadth appear to have changed the economic environment in many ways and to have left the road ahead unclear. Work on the use of the resolution mechanism set out in the Dodd-Frank Act, based on the principle of a single point of entry through less advanced than the work on capital and liquidity ratios, holds the promise of making it possible to resolve banks in difficulty at no direct cost to the taxpayer. As part of this approach, the United States is preparing a proposal to require systemically important banks to issue bail-inable long-term debt that will enable insolvent banks to recapitalize themselves in resolution without calling on government funding. This cushion is known as a gone concern buffer, also known as a bailout or bail-in. Though Fisher doesn't detail exactly what bail-inable long-term debt actually is, one only needs to look at Europe, namely Cyprus, to understand what he means. When the Cypriot banking system collapsed because of the inability to service its debt in 2013, the government forced bank depositors to cover the debts, bail-ins. This led to banks forcibly seizing funds from depositor accounts in order to pay their debts, when basically saying, we'll pay you back later. We're going to take your money, we'll pay it back to you later. So if you didn't went into the bank and said, well, I need all my account, I don't like all my money on my account, I don't like what I'm seeing here, no, your money's gone. You are a forceful debtor or creditor now. According to the Vice Fed Chairman, the U.S. government is now proposing similar rules, following in the footsteps of Europe and Japan, who have already prepared such measures. The bottom line is that financial, economic, and monetary policymakers in the U.S. are fearful that another crisis, perhaps even worse than the one in 2008, the derivatives are going to blow up. That's pretty much worse than 2008. Is going to be playing out in the very near future. Otherwise, why would they find it necessary to take the drastic step of forcing bank depositors to act as a backstop for their financial institutions? But this time around, it won't be the government that bails them out directly. Instead, if you have an account with the bank, you are all of a sudden what they call an unsecured creditor for that institution. Just like the people of Cyprus were for their banks. And when that bank inevitably comes under pressure because of the inability to cover their debts, and that's going to happen, it is you who will become the bailout mechanism. It's not hard to imagine how this scenario might play out the next time around. At the first hint of another crisis, we're going to see panic that will make 2008 look like a picnic. First, stock markets will sell off en masse across the world as a scramble to not be the last one out takes hold of investors, or in other words, the last one out of the market, layman's terms. This in turn will lead to liquidity problems of major financial institutions across the country. As banks run out of cash to cover the tens of billions of dollars they need to service their existing debt, they will turn to the new policies described by Vice Fed Chairman Stanley Fischer. What this means is that one morning you could wake up and see 10 or 20% of your funds transferred out of your bank account in exchange for a long-term debt, such as a bond, with the promise that the bank will pay it back to you at a later date. And when the vice chairman said long-term debt, that means long-term bond. So let's say, and I love this word, I haven't used it in such a long time, you were doing the right thing and you really didn't get into too much debt. You paid all your bills on time. You've got a triple 100 million AAA% credit score. You just got a mortgage, right? Most of your debt pretty much is paid off. Living the dream, even though it was hard, you struggled. Not only on top of that, because the market did so well, maybe you were smart enough and got your money out of the market, set it in your bank account. You thought, man, I am ahead of the game. And by anyone else's measures, you sound like you are on point. Now you got a nice chunk of change in your bank account, because again, you're seeing things that may bother you, but you were doing the right thing the whole time. Got this all figured out. You're going to take that stock market money out before it crashes, put it in your bank account. Where else are you going to put it? You're going to wait till the dust settles, right? Where maybe you got 100, 200 grand in the bank account. It's covered under FDIC. And then all of a sudden, as they talk about, you wake up one day, and imagine if you find that the FDIC insurance never even had to kick in. That the banks, somehow by law, whatever, new rule of the Federal Reserve, you can just do this. They don't need a law, just a slight changing in the banking rules from the Federal Reserve itself, let's say. You can now do bail-ins. They realize we don't have to even tap the FDIC insurance fund because we're not going out of business. We're not failing. We're not closing the doors. We're keeping them open because we're going to do the depositor bail-in. We don't even have to touch the DIF fund, the FDIC insurance. So we'll still hold that little placard, that little sticker on all the windows of the bank. Member FDIC, to make you feel secure. You wake up, your $100,000, $200,000 just been cut down by 25%, let's say. And let's say you had 200 grand in the bank. You were the smart one. You took out the money at the stock market. You thought you had this one nailed. All your friends and family, man, my brother, my whoever, man, they're so smart. He got out of the stock market just in time. He just left his money in the bank. He kept it under the threshold of the FDIC insurance. So, man, he's smart. Then you wake up one day and 25% of it's gone. Maybe more. There's no telling. I don't know what the rule limit is. Now you're 200,000. It's down to 150. Let's just say. And you're pissed off. Where the hell did $50,000 of my money go that I had sitting in my bank account? Well, sir, banking regulations allow us, the bank, so we don't have to close our doors, to do what they call a bail-in, or as the Fed do, a long-term debt structure, or give it the fancy name, so that people, you know, the dummies, the layman's, don't understand. What does that mean? They don't even care to ask. It just sounds fancy, so I'll just accept it. You know, long-term debt structure or whatever, right? That means you now have been issued we will pay you back at interest. We will pay you the interest, by the way. Of course, the crap interest you've always been getting in your account, while the banks, when they had it good and got all the bail-in money from $1 trillion bailout in 2000, not bail-in, bailout from 2008, they weren't giving you a loan when you needed a new car or house or whatever it was. They weren't giving you that at, you know, half of 1% or 0.01 or 2%, you know, a tenth of 1%, like that's supposed to be some kind of good return. Oh no, you sorry sack of garbage. You were getting that house loan for 4, 5, or 6%. That car payment or car one may have been a little higher, or may have been the same, 4, 5, or 6%. And you still thought, man, that's not bad. That's not a bad interest rate. Got a car for 5%, my house is still 5%. Man, times are good. And now all of a sudden they've taken by force your money as a bail-in and say, here's a what they call long-term bond. We will pay this back to you at interest. And they're going to give you this 0.0000001% interest payment every month, which amounts to nothing on your $50,000. You're getting pennies back monthly because, like they said, hey, we're good for it. We're paying you back. But you sorry sack of garbage, don't get to tell the bank, well, wait a minute, when I go to you, you tell me what interest rate I've got, and I've got the AAA double whammy credit score, I'm supposed to get the best deal, and I still don't feel like I got the best deal. I'd like a 0.0 something percent interest rate. No, I can only get a 4 or 5 or 6%. Well, gosh. And then all of a sudden, they've bailed you in, taking your money, and at the same time, telling you this is the interest you're going to get back, which is 0.0 nothing. That's what you get back, sir. Wait a minute. Whoa. Now you're the creditor. I'm the creditor, and you, the bank, are the debtor, correct? We've swapped roles. Yeah, that's technically speaking. Yeah, you're right. Well, you see, I've got my own credit score system. Just made it up. And because you needed to bail in tells me you can't make your payments. And as soon as you struggle to make your payments, your credit score gets nailed. So Bank of America, JP Morgan, the rest of you, I'm sorry to tell you, but the interest rate has just gone up for you guys because you don't have that AAA credit rating anymore. In my book. And matter of fact, everyone else you bailed in's book. And then they say to you, you silly peasant. You goyim. We're telling you what we're paying you, and not only are you getting almost nothing back as interest while we took your money in the middle of the night while you were sleeping, we don't have to pay you back in full on this bond note, etc. until 15, 20 years, whatever it is, years from now. Long term. They said long term. So the minimum's probably going to be like 10 years. So we're not paying you back in full. We're only going to pay you the interest payments to start with, which amounts to pennies. You make a few dollars every month in interest. You can make sure you put that on your IRS tax return. They're going to be cracking it up. They're going to be dying. And when you say, no, I would rather have my money now. I don't want to sit and make pennies every month. I could use the $50,000 here shortly. I'm about to buy a new house, I'm about to do this, about to buy whatever. Maybe you're going to invest in something else, whatever. Sorry, your money's gone, you can't invest it. But we got this other piece of paper that says whatever long-term bond. And in 20 years from now, you'll get your 50 grand back. So let me ask you a question. This is pretty much a no-brainer for me. If banks do these bail-ins, and in that example I just gave you, 200 grand you had in your account, you're living large, you're feeling good, did everything right, doing the right thing all my life? You silly peasant. Anyways, your 200,000 just turned into 150. Wake up the next day, it's gone. Here's a bond in exchange, we'll pay you off in 20 years. Now you are absolutely flipping mad, furious. You're ready to kill somebody. That's how mad you are. But doing the right thing, I will let Jesus deal with that person, to which nothing's going to happen. And you just accepted it. Lost my 50 grand. They're going to pay it back. They'll pay it back. So I will get it eventually. I'm not too awfully mad, but I'm still pretty fuming. But I got 150,000 in the bank. What if they need to do it again? What if, because they needed it to begin with, we were told this recession already ended, everything was good, everything was fine. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing this crap on the news about these derivatives things, and now that I've done this little research of what the hell derivative is, I can't even believe these things were ever allowed. So if they were allowed, and we're living in a, fun house of a, banana republic type of system, I don't trust my $150,000 in the bank. Even though they took the 50, man, I think I'm going to go right down there and take that 150 out immediately. Take the cash out, and then maybe put back a few $1,000s in some other bank. Well, then again, other banks did it too, so I'll just pick one of them, whatever. I got to have a bank to deal with my daily stuff. So I'll take the 150,000 out. I'm just going to put it in the safe. I'll do whatever I got to do. I'm not leaving it in the bank. All of a sudden, that bank is in trouble again, isn't it? Because you've just taken out $150,000 of your money that was critical for that bank to use to give out other people lending, loans to other people, because that's what banks do with all of our money, is lend it out at interest so that they make the interest payments back as their profit to keep them going, and of course really keep them going because they make a huge profit. But for some reason, profit's not going to be enough. They're not going to be able to keep the doors open, because if they could, the 2008 bailout would have never happened. Correct? Correct. Therefore, the next one, when the derivatives crisis blows up in everyone's face, is going to be 10 times worse. And that's when the whole bail-in thing they're talking about is probably going to kick in. So now you've taken your money out of the bank because the bank just stole your money, 50,000 of it in this example. So you're not feeling too comfortable. You basically want to get the rest of whatever is yours out of there instantly. And I will say this, don't be surprised if when this rule kicks in, there's a little, what I used to call subsection A, that states you can only take X amount of dollars out of a bank at a given time, and that amount of money is going to be so low, it's going to take you forever to get your $150,000 out of the bank anyways. So now you're left with being a prisoner of this system, which then does what? Causes you to become so mad, so upset, so pissed off, you are ready to overthrow the government at that point. And then it's going to start happening. You're going to see the rioting and the crap that's going to go on that leads directly to that. You are not going to take people's hard-earned money. Especially when they said, I've sat here and dealt with this, I've struggled to do this, the government told me I had to do this because our fragile economy, so I did what they said. And now they've allowed these same banks to steal my money. And then in doing so, right, they're going to educate themselves in a hurry. Because as I say, when it happens to you, all of a sudden you want answers and you want them now. And when you turn on CNN and turn on Fox News, you're not getting any kind of answer at all. Matter of fact, they're avoiding the question. So, let me go to the internet and do a little research. And then you're going to find out about all these paper products and derivatives, and you're going to hear about how Jamie Dimon got his bonuses and made $20 million and turned into $25 million a year, and how they settled with the Security and Exchange Commission, which is, Wall Street regulator. They've settled with the commodities industry, the CFTC regulators. They've settled here, settled there, settled everywhere for fraud, financial crimes, fraud, financial crimes, financial crimes, fraud. And you're going to say, and now I have to bail out this particular bank. I have a bank robber in front of me, and now my government's telling me I've also got to support that bank robber and keep paying him while he robbed all those banks, blew through all the money, but because he's too big to fail, too big to jail, he gets out of jail, stays out of jail, and now they're taking my money out of my account. While I'm also reading, while these bail-ins are occurring, that son of a bitch just made the most record profit for his own personal life. The last quarter was the best he ever saw, got a bonus. He only got that bonus because he stole my money, right? You're going to see people flip out. They will flip out. While I'm trying to tell you how to avoid it so you don't have to be a part of that. You just keep stacking that precious metal, gold and silver. I'm, again, as I always say, the silver guy. And yeah, they're putting pressure like you can't believe, right? Last few days even. Just unbelievable pressure on gold and silver. Why? Because they know something's about to happen soon. That's going to cause gold and silver to go up. So they can't have it up to start with and then have it go up more when whatever event or whatever thing comes out and makes it go higher. They got to keep it down. Not only do they keep it down, they want to take it a little further than normal, like where the technical lines, technical charts say if it hits 1300 gold, and then we're look at the next leg. Get that crap out of my face. They control the price. They set it wherever they want. But they know the rest of the world still, at least most people, still believe in this true free open market stuff, and we're going to look at the technical analysis, and if it's over 1300, then that means we're definitely going higher in gold. So they're going to keep it under 1300 and then give it a little extra. 1280, 1290, no, 1270. Put it down to 1270. And then of course it starts going back up and they got to fight it again and push it down. This is all a fire sale to you. 19-something dollar silver, $20 silver, $21 silver. It all has a big sign that says buy me now. And you just sit on it and wait. Speaking of which, just since we're in the morning, just curious here what we're looking at. Gold is 1268. Ooh. They want you to think that the party's over, even though you may say, they may understand, people are realizing, man, this has to be rigged. This really is rigged. You know, I thought it wasn't. This is rigged. They don't care anymore. They don't care that you think or even know it's rigged. They want you to probably think that now because, man, if it's rigged, that means the government and the bankers or whatever, they're doing it. Man, that means that they really can put the price wherever they want. And since they keep trying to push it lower and lower and lower, I'm tired of playing that game. I'm getting my money out of gold and silver. I'm going to go invest. Well, the market keeps going up. So if they're rigging that too, well, I don't care. The market's going up. I'll put my money there. I'm tired of playing with gold and silver. And then they're gonna be in the background saying, exactly, because we need you to put all your money back into that market. So that when the club members give ourselves the go signal and we destroy the market, we will already have taken all those short positions and gotten our money out of the market, making unbelievable profits hand over fist, because we chose to short the market at precisely the right time. And we can't just short it, because for every short position there has to be a long position. So we need all the sheep to be very happy and back in that market, even if we have to force them out of other commodities and other stocks to go into the stock market, you know, as in the S&P and the Dow, so that they can then take their positions and all your money is gone. You're screaming for the exits, and the price just keeps dropping and dropping. No buyers, no buyers, no buyers, no buyers. Oh my God, no buyers. No. Finally got a buyer. How much did you lose? 60%. 60%. So then if it was me, I'd ask the government, hey government, where's the President's Group on Financial Matters, also known as the Plunge Protection Team? They've been active this whole time, keeping the market steady, rising. How come they're not allowed to actively participate in the market all of a sudden? Why was my retirement just destroyed 50-60%? What kind of answer are they going to give you? Well, they can only move it, they only participate a little bit. Not when there's a massive waterfall exodus. They'll tell you something. If your money is not in their system, you cannot be affected by these things when they happen. Which is why physical assets like gold and silver are the best thing you could possibly have. Don't look at the stupid price at the moment. It doesn't matter. Look at it and smile. Oh my God, I can get more for cheaper. And go and do it. Because those days are counting down. They're getting less and less. And sooner or later, it's getting down to zero time. When, oh my God, the price is going to explode. When the rest of this crap happens. Because that person who just lost 50-60% of their money in the market and got it out at the last minute, oh my God, I can't believe I lost it. Guess where it's going to be going? Oh my God, Russia and China just announced today they've got the new exchanges online. They're no longer looking at the COMEX American system for setting the price. They're going to set themselves to talk about market manipulation. Oh man, I better get into gold and silver now. Right now. I'm taking some of that 50-60% I lost. I'm taking some of that and dumping it into the silver and gold market. Everyone else is doing it. Seems to be working. And then bingo. Now there's too many people in this little tiny market. Not enough gold and silver around. Do you realize that the Shanghai exchange recently, this precious metals exchange, the silver explicitly, had a mass, not sell-off, I should say buy-off of silver. So they sold off, someone bought, whatever. 25% inventory of this exchange. One I spoke to you about a couple weeks ago. Well, I said there's lots of action, and in a matter of days, day or two, 10% was just wiped off the exchange, whatever it was at the time. Well, now you can wipe that out, and there's a new record. There's 25% of the metals were just taken off of that exchange, silver, the silver specifically, and they were already dangerously low. And I said, my buddy emailed me, whatever, talked about it, showed me how in 3 months from now, that exchange could be like at 0 point. We need a lot more silver. Where are we going to get it from? Because if they could get it, why wouldn't they get it now? Why is the exchange running low? Maybe they're going to go to the COMEX, place a huge order, demand delivery, give us the silver. What's that? Delays? What's that? You don't have it. Oh, you're not going to use that word. Just delays. Okay, well, we'll play that game. We'll take the delay. We'll wait. Go ahead and give it to us. Well, there's another delay. right? You hear that word come out again, delays, and I can't make delivery on time. People are going to recognize these people are in some kind of desperate measures right now to try to maintain price control. I don't care. I'm going all in on gold and silver. Done. Something for y'all to think about. Bail-ins coming to a country near you. How do you protect against that? Duh. I'll use thousands of years of history. It's called gold and silver. Take care.